Ladies and gentlemen, it's homecoming here at Upper Merion, although you'd never know it by the rain. Hi, I'm Dave Fazzini, and along with Mark Kolodinsky, we're here for NASD Channel 28, bringing you what promises to be some exciting, hard-hitting football action in weather that for once is actually conducive to football. As Mark and I were walking around on the field earlier, we couldn't help but notice that we were sinking in to the mud. And it's a great day for the linemen. It's a great day for the running game, but not such a great day for quarterbacks. And, Mark, speaking of running backs, there's some interesting news coming out of Upper Merion this week.
Oh, yeah, certainly. The number one headline into this game would have to be the suspension of star running back Naeem Cheeseborough. He leads the league in rushing yardage, over 800 yards this season. Next best is Sheldon Mayer with 650. So worlds above the rest of the league, but he's out in this one because he was suspended last week for some late game, actually post-game altercations with the referees, ended up being suspended for this game. So that certainly works to the Eagles' advantage. And with the running game being magnified today due to the deplorable conditions, the fact that Cheeseborough is missing is even larger. And Mayer for Norristown and some lesser bench backup guys, however you want to refer to them. I mean, they might have some talented guys back there, but they're not exactly Cheeseborough.
And that's a good point, Mark. They're not exactly Cheeseborough. Cheeseborough is a big back. He's a power back, and those kind of backs just do really well in this kind of weather. And as we look around, we're looking down, we're seeing people slip, we're seeing people fall. We just saw a nice pregame catch by Anthony Roby, number 2, an often underused weapon for the Eagles. But what we're noticing tonight is some linemen working on the double team. They're working on beating the double team for Norristown and exploiting the double team for Upper Merion. That's a problem. Norristown has had a lot of problems being gashed up the middle. What do they do tonight to keep that from happening?
Well, I think what happened is early in the season they were dominant against the run. Their defensive line was all around dominant. Marcus Robbins, 285 pounds, leading a bunch of guys that are big, quick, and talented. They're explosive. But teams noticed this, and they realized that they have to double team these big tackles. And it's caused some problems against PW and against Upper Dublin in the past 2 weeks. But Coach Ra, the defensive line coach, and these rest of these coaches have to draw something up and beat these double teams, get some help with off the ends of the linebackers, maybe some run blitzes. We saw Derek Williams last week against PW blow up a play in the backfield, force a fumble, and run it back 60-some-odd yards, and that really changed the course of the game. So they just got to figure out ways to get around that, and they'll be fine.
The run blitz is one of those weapons Norristown hasn't used as much as it should. When it works for the Eagles, they blow up plays in the backfield. They have Roby coming off the end. They have powerful stud linebackers like Leo Colazzo coming up the middle. And Derek Williams, as you said, who succeeded on that run blitz last week and really made things happen. I don't understand why Norristown hasn't been using that as much as they should. That looks to be tonight. If the defensive tackles can't do what they got to do, can't do what Coach Ra tells them, they got to use that run blitz, and they've got to try to put some points up on defense. As far as Upper Merion's offense is concerned, most of it was wrapped up in Cheeseborough. Without him, there aren't that many other weapons to speak of, but they're still a good team. What's Norristown do tonight? Because it's Upper Merion's homecoming. They're going to have some fans out here in these bad conditions still. What's Norristown do tonight to keep from a possible letdown after that big win against PW last week?
Well, they've just got to keep the intensity up and keep their focus up because we saw a couple weeks ago Upper Dublin, a team they should have beaten, and they came out kind of flat. And, I mean, it was hard to point to one weakness. They just looked all around unintense. And they just got to make sure that, okay, yes, this is a team that you're probably favored against, even on the road. But you have to act like the score is 0-0 pretty much at all times. So I really think mentally they just got to stay focused, and that'll help them this one because they certainly have the talent and the weapons. That's really not a question. It's just all about their minds and the mental part of the game.
Well, a lot can change in the rain. And the rain and bad weather has a way of acting as a great equalizer. It can take some teams who perhaps weren't as good, and it can exalt them to a different plane of existence. It can make a bad team good, it can make a good team great, and it can make a great team very slow. So we look for all of those things, all of those possibilities to be in play tonight. As we're getting set for kickoff here at Upper Merion, I'm Dave Fazzini, and along with Mark Kolodinsky, we're Channel 28 NASD TV, and we look forward to some hard-hitting action out here in the mud, as it should be. the kicking team's got to do a better job holding on to that ball. You can't give the Eagles a short field. They're way too dangerous for that.
Well, you said special teams will be huge. I said they could decide the game, and here we are early. Huge special teams
Two
play.
Nostradamus men.
So the Eagles will start from the Vikings 25.
In the eye, no less.
One wide receiver. It's Roby. They're going with 2 tight ends. Mayer hands it off to Sheldon. Met in the backfield. Got away for a moment, but ends up losing 1.5.
You're not making cuts on a night like this. That's just going to be way too difficult for Mayer to be able to do his dipsy doodle dancing in the backfield. It's straight ahead running night, and we got to get better blocking up front for the Eagles.
And can Mayer adjust his game to that? Because we know he's such a multifaceted runner, but he is more of a lateral, quick, agile type of a guy, which obviously these weather conditions don't favor. But with him being as multidimensional as he is, can he make that adjustment?
He can make the adjustment, but the line's going to have to do a better job than that. They're going to have to give him place to operate between the tackles. Didn't happen on that play.
So it'll be second and about 11. Play action. Mayer here to pass early. Throws deep for the end zone. Roby, it's too tall for him. So they try to go deep to Roby, but it's fruitless.
About 3 receivers fell down on that play. Roby was the only guy to stand up. Kind of limits Mayer's options.
Not a bad, not disastrous, though, considering the weather conditions. Not a bad throw at all, but a little bit too tall for Roby, but Mayer put it where only his man could get it.
You really don't want to waste scoring opportunities here. So for Norristown to blow this opportunity surely won't be good, because who knows how many you're going to get in this tar pit-esque condition.
Well, the weather not stopping the Eagles from lining up with 5 wide receivers, 4 to the far side, only Roby near side. And it looked like the Vikings may have jumped. There are no flags, it appears. Here's Mayer rolling out. He's trying to run it. And it looks like he's going to come up about 4 yards short.
Yeah, he's short there, and you're certainly not kicking a field goal.
Yeah, so I guess you go for it.
You go for it.
They set themselves up with a 4th and makeable as opposed to 4th and 11.
Yeah, good play by Mayer. Makes good decisions.
And they're actually going to mark it back at, it's going to bring up about a 4th and 8.
One of the things we've been talking about with Shannon Mayer all year is his penchant for making good decisions. Mayer has shown remarkable sophistication for someone who's only a sophomore. So we'll see what he does here. This is a pressure situation for the young man.
4th and 8. He drops back to throw, rolls out to his right, under huge pressure. Still rolling. Now throws it, and it's way off the mark, intended for Anthony Roby, who may have had a step on his man, and the throw was off the target.
It's hard to make those throws on the run, against his body, in the rain. Too sloppy. Sloppy conditions.
So the Eagles waste the golden opportunity they had starting from enemy territory at the 25. But fortunately, Upper Merion won't have such great starting field position, and they got to make a long drive.
Yeah, Upper Merion's got to make a lot happen here, and they've got a long field ahead of them and a tough Eagles defense.
Andrew Legendre is the quarterback. He will lead the Vikings up to the line. 1st and 10. Motion. And they hand it off. James Brennan plowing ahead and picking up a couple hard-earned yards.
That's the problem with the Eagles' defense. They have the ability to make anybody look like Jim Brown or Earl Campbell. The Eagles' front 4 has been soft as could be, ice cream soft, and they can't do that tonight.
Yeah, similar to how the Plymouth Whitemarsh game started off with a lot of big runs up the middle.
An unmanly gutting of the front 4.
It was just like this, though, with those gains of 6. And now here's a good-looking Norristown defense. I believe the snap was mishandled.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah, the weather certainly not conducive to clean play. So that's a break for the Eagles, and it's going to be about 3rd and 6. Legendre with 3 wide receivers to the near side. He has Brennan in motion, and he'll hand it off to Zioli. And he's not going to get much, so the Eagles' defense makes the stop.
This is going to be an interesting call here, but it's pretty much you have to punt because of the field position, and you can't risk it because of the elements. But it'd be nice to see them go for it, just to see what happens, just to see that Eagles defense have to step up in a meaningful way.
Matt Klein, the 280-pound punter, boots it away. And it's a short punt out of bounds, shy of midfield. Oh, he got a favorable spot on that punt. It clearly went out of bounds before the 50.
About 5 yards
It
before.
landed at about with the 50, but it went out of bounds a while before that.
Well, with the weather being so cold, it might be easy to mistake it for Christmas. So a very Christmassy spot there.
There is no way that ball should be slotted at the 50.
Well, the spirit of the holidays, Mark. You got to get with it, I guess.
Wow. So Eagles take over at midfield. Their average starting field position at the 37.5. So that's obviously a great thing for their offense. Here's Mayer handing it off to Sheldon. Up the middle. He gets a couple. That's not going to cut it, though. They're going to need some of that big play magic that they rely on.
The problem is the offensive linemen are not getting their footing. So those offensive linemen are kind of trudging. They're just plodding there and slipping and falling out from under them. They can't get their blocks, can't get a hold on them. Upper Merion's done a good job just staying at home, staying focused, and making tackles. They know the ball's going to Mayer. It's raining outside. Norristown's got to get a little more inventive than that.
And speaking of the offensive line, Kyle McClure came in for Nico DeSilvio, who was injured a couple weeks ago. Seems to have taken over the job. And now they'll hand it off to Presley. He bangs it up the middle and picks up some tough yardage, falls in the wet grass / mud out there. That's some big-time, hard, tough football.
Nice slip and slide action by Tracy Presley there. That's what you like to see. You like to see the fullback get involved. Presley's more of the grinder. Mayer's more of the speed guy. Use each man according to his own skill set. You got to get Presley involved today or you're not going to win.
And Tracy Presley's basically like a halfback playing fullback. But, of course, a halfback who can block. But he's got the skill set of a halfback when it comes to running and receiving. Mayer drops back. Play action. Still dropping back, now rolling out. In some trouble and goes down. Back at the original line of scrimmage, it's going to be 4th and 10.
Well, that was bad in every possible sense of the word and play. That was a ghastly play. It was doomed from the start. Very, very poor blocking up front, letting men blitz at will, and letting the Vikings look like, their namesake, just coming in, sacking and pillaging and taking advantage of the hapless villagers.
Loss of 6 on the sack. And now Taylor Hillenbrand back to punt it away. He's been solid this season, but these weather conditions can wreak havoc on a kicking game. He boots it away. It's a great punt. And it's fielded by James Brennan. Up the sideline, he's got some room, and he's finally knocked out of bounds. And the net yardage on that punt, only about 10 yards, meaning from where the Eagles punted it, Vikings only get it about 10 yards outside of that.
Speaking of Christmas, the ghost of Christmas past came back and haunts the Eagles with some poor special teams play on there. Got a decent punt away, but coverage was bad. Just couldn't get down there quickly enough and not able to stop Upper Merion. Good run back by Brennan.
So 1st and 10, ball at their own 40. And we don't expect to see a whole lot of offense today in this weather, and so far that's been the case, as it's still 0-0 with 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. I'm Mark Kolodinsky, along with Dave Fazzini for NASD TV. They hand it off to Tyler Zioli, who's been taking much of the halfback load with Cheeseborough out, breaking tackles, but Sheldon Mayer eventually brings him down on his own. Good tackle by Mayer, but too much yardage.
Way too much. It's unbelievable just what Norristown's willing to give up on the ground. It's a deplorable run defense. One of the worst teams, one of the worst run defenses in the area statistically, the Norristown Eagles.
And this shouldn't be the case with the guys they have up front and the size. We mentioned it at the top of the show. Marcus Robbins, 285 pounds. Evan Battaglio is about 6'3" or 4. Nick Bloomer, Christian Exum, Terrence Edwards, and they're just so deep, too. It's just unbelievable that they get gashed like this. That looked like a false start. Let's see if they were induced.
Yeah, that's one of those weather-related mishaps that's led to that. False start, but it wasn't really a false start. It was just a delay. The center couldn't get it back, and the offensive lineman moved. The center is the one who didn't do the right thing there, not getting the ball back, but you really can't blame him. Not getting a solid grip on the ball, and that's that mud puddle we were walking into before the game. Right there between the 40s. That's bad right there. It's almost all mud.
Well, Tyler Zioli has been getting most of the halfback work with Cheeseborough suspended, and he's a bigger guy, and of course that works well with the weather. Lagrange under center. He fakes it and now throws it out to Brennan, and Brennan drops it. It'll be 3rd and about 7.
Yeah, 3rd and 7, and the Eagles finally get a little bit of pressure on, finally showing some defensive kind of mettle there. I don't like what I see so far, but they're not really giving up many yards. But the yards they're giving up are kind of slog it out up the middle. It indicates a lack of toughness on the part of that front four for Norristown, and I don't like seeing that.
But Upper Merion decides to try to take advantage of their run success by doing a play action, and I don't like that. I think they should just keep going to it.
Keep going. You gut them like a fish.
Well, it looks like their 2 main offensive weapons are going to be Brennan and Zioli with Cheeseborough out. And he'll fake it to Brennan, winds up, throws, and it's almost intercepted by Derek Williams in and out of his hands.
You got to catch that if you're Derek Williams. Not a solid play. He didn't keep his eye on the ball. Perhaps a little weather related, but he's got the gloves on. He's got to make that catch.
Gift wrapped for him.
Yeah, in the spirit of the holidays, Mark.
And we don't see Upper Merion week in and week out, but even for those who do, I mean, this is something new for you with Cheeseborough out. Who's going to carry the offense?
Yeah.
Of course, Lagrange is going to be the quarterback, but, I mean, who's going to be your weapons? And like we said, Brennan and Zioli look like they have been used the most.
Look at where Roby's lined up. I wonder if they're going to send him hard. They do.
Not a line drive punt. And ugly but solid as the Eagles will begin their drive at the 27.
Another spot there, Mark, that's 6 or 7 yards behind where the ball actually went out of bounds.
It's like they're marking it where it hits the ground, which is not how it's done.
No, it's not.
I don't know what's going on.
That may be a lack of understanding of the rules on the part of the officiating crew.
I don't know what it is, but I've certainly noticed that as well. And that one earlier at the 50, we had an outstanding view of that, and that was just clearly a bad call. Clearly. So they'll line it up in the I formation with 2 wide receivers far side. Mayer hands it off to Sheldon. He's got a big hole and bursts through it and picks up a solid chunk of yardage. Give him about 9.
Finally, some good blocking. Robbins, Bloomer, and the crew open up a hole for him. Good block, good down block by Kyle McClure at center. Really nice play. Well set up, well executed, and Sheldon did what he had to do.
Well, give him 10 as they move the chains. As Shannon Mayer leads his team to the line of scrimmage. Shannon Mayer, not good to see, already with a dirty uniform.
Yeah, everybody's going to be covered in mud tonight.
You hope that your quarterback could be one of the cleanest, though, and so far that's not the case. Full house in the backfield with 3 men in the backfield, and Sheldon Mayer gets just a few.
I don't mind seeing 3 or 4 yards from Mayer. If that's what it takes, he'll break one eventually.
Oh, yeah.
They've got to soften him up. It looks like that generous spot is working both ways there, Mark, because they gave Sheldon Mayer an extra couple yards on that run. Now they're taking one back. Confusing.
Well, in the end, it'll be about 2nd and 6 or 7.
Denalfi back deep.
Denalfi in the backfield. Evan Battaglio lined up outside as a wide receiver. Now they split Denalfi out in motion. And Tracy Presley bowls forward for maybe 1.
Yeah, not much there for number 21 there, Tracy Presley. I would have gone back to Mayer on that one. I don't know. Yeah, I said mix it up with Presley and Mayer before, but without having Mayer back there, you're diminishing Presley's effectiveness because they're keying on him then. Mayer back there, they're solely keying on him. You give it to Presley, it becomes a surprise. You give it to Presley when he's the only man back there. He's not Sheldon Mayer.
Once again, 3 wide receivers. And still Denalfi in the backfield. They throw it to Battaglio. He's got it, and he's brought down just shy of the marker, or will they give it to him? It's going to be real close.
Well, it's about time they started using Battaglio. Battaglio's set up. He did a very tight end move. He stood there and he let the ball come to him. He came back a little bit for it. Him coming back a little bit for it both allowed it to happen, though, allowed the reception to have it, but it also made sure he wasn't going to get the first.
4th and 1, a big play in this game early. And timeout taken by the Eagles as they draw up something for 4th and 1.
You know what I do on this play? I sneak it right behind Kyle McClure. He's been doing a good job. He's not the biggest kid in the world, but he's got guts, and there's a lot to be said for that. And I'd sneak it right behind him if I'm Coach E.J. Smith.
And Shannon there is a pretty good athlete and a pretty good runner. He could. That's an advantage to have.
Yep.
With the quarterback sneak.
They've only got a yard to pick up. They can do it with Shannon.
How big of a play in this game? It's just the first quarter, but this is huge.
It's a huge game early because it's pretty clear from the start that there's not going to be too much going on scoring. Both offenses are not quite anemic, but they're not looking great so far. Footing's definitely an issue. Norristown, if they pick this up, they're in good shape.
Yeah, and the offensive troubles due in large part to the lack of weather.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, Cheeseborough being out. So, yeah, the points are going to be hard to come by. Just makes every drive more valuable.
Well, Norristown's defense, like you said, they got better. They got a little addition by subtraction, but the subtraction is on the side of Upper Merion here. Norristown's defense gets a whole heck of a lot better in this game by Cheeseborough being out.
4th and a yard.
They've got the big package in there. Look who's at fullback.
Marcus Robbins in the backfield, going to lead the way perhaps for Sheldon Mayer. Shannon Mayer sneaks it, and he gets it soundly.
And big 65 Marcus Robbins, like talking about putting the cart before the horse. They put the cart before the horse that time, and they got the whole thing going, and the pile just kept plugging along. And Marcus Robbins comes from behind and shoves that pile forward another 2 or 3 yards. They call that, I think they call it like the Fat Burger package or something like that. The kids were telling me they have a weird name for that, like the Bob's Big Boy or the Fat Burger package, something crazy. But it works.
They got a plethora of guys that they could use in a number of ways. I mean, Marcus Robbins is pretty much a center or an offensive and defensive lineman.
I say use Robbins in the Wildcat.
Why not? They hand it off to Mayer. He's got a big hole up the middle. By the rest of the Upper Merion defense, Sheldon Mayer, see you later. Touchdown, Sheldon Mayer, and that's what you see with Sheldon. 3 yards here, 4 yards there, and then bang, he's in the end zone.
He's too good. He's an unstoppable force of nature. You can't stop Sheldon Mayer. There's nothing you can do. Putting 15 guys on the field, that might help. 20 guys in the field.
Maybe.
But
it's illegal.
It's illegal. You really can't stop him with 11 guys.
Number 7, Jake Keshik, falling down on that play, losing his footing. And, of course, then you got Sheldon Mayer coming at you with his shiftiness and his agility, and then you have a wet condition. And there's not much you can do.
Mayer just looked like way faster than everyone else on that field.
The extra point is up, and it is through and good. 7-0 Eagles.
7-0 Eagles. So that's how the Eagles clearly are going to try to play this game. They're going to have it play out. They want to get the ball in Mayer's hands, and they just want to pound it down the throat, and then, like you just saw, big run. Mayer's is too good.
Well, last week, excuse me, with 3 touchdowns of 69 yards, 50, and 55.
Yeah.
So it just proves the point that he is all about the big play.
The one, Cheeseborough is the number 1 rusher in the area. Sheldon Mayer is heads and tails and light years past everybody else in total offense.
And, of course, what he does on special teams as well. Not to mention defense. A jack of all trades is Mayer.
And usually when people are a jack of all trades, they're considered a master of none. Like you heard the phrase, a jack of all trades, a master of none. He's a master of all trades. He can do everything, and he does it at like a Division I level, including basketball.
Marcus Stewart to kick it off again. We saw him using Taylor Hillenbrand on some kickoffs in the past weeks, but apparently they like Stewart for now. He boots it away, a solid kick. And it's fielded by Michael Bruno. Bruno with a solid return, and Upper Merion's going to start at right about the 27-yard line. They're in 27.
Yeah, so not a bad return for Upper Merion there. What I do if I'm Upper Merion is I gut this Eagles defense. I continue running it, because what you can't let happen is you can't put the Eagles in a position where they can blitz you and you have to pass. If you do that, you're dead. If you get down big to the Eagles, you're done. You can't do this. You have to run if you're Upper Merion.
Akeem Boyd in the game at cornerback. And Lagrange under center.
The rain's coming down harder here.
They put Brennan in motion, and there's a pre-snap flag.
Another rain setup or rain cause procedure call there. A little bit of missed signal, miscommunication, and missed ball handling. It's an ugly game.
Well, Upper Merion's been running that offense where they bring Brennan in motion around, and then they can hand the ball in the backfield to Zioli, or they could hand it to Brennan on some kind of a sweep.
Yeah.
So interesting to see how the Eagles can defend that.
Well, if they run that up the middle and they run a little counter style with the wing coming off the end, I'm not opposed to that. What I am opposed to in a game conditions like this is if you start trying to go too wide with that wing back like sweep all the way around end, you're not going to succeed.
So that penalty on the Eagles, it's 1st and 5. And another pre-snap flag. And this one's on Upper Merion, so when it's all said and done, still 1st and 10.
This is a mess.
The umbrellas are plentiful in the stands here at Upper Merion. Many of the fans came out to support their Vikings on homecoming, but a couple fans braved the weather equipped with their umbrellas.
A polychromatic array of umbrellas here tonight. Looks really nice. And Norristown's fewer. There's fewer fans on the Norristown side, but still, there's people out here tonight.
This is considered a pretty big rivalry.
Yeah.
And, of course, these schools geographically close. They handed off to Brennan on that sweep play that we spoke of earlier, and it stopped for a minimal gain. If I'm the Eagles, I got to be keen, though. I got to be primarily focused on the run up the middle with Zioli as opposed to the sweeps with Brennan.
Yeah.
Because they got the speed and all that to defend the around the edge stuff. They got to worry about up the middle.
I don't worry about that at all. I worry about the Norristown Achilles heel, which has been in the last couple days, that tackle play. Norristown's tackle play in the last several games has been deplorable. I run it right up the middle every down if I'm Upper Merion.
A minute and a half left to go in the first quarter, 7-0 Eagles. You're watching Eagles football on NESD TV. It's a play action, and Legendre is going to run it himself, and he's brought down hard by number 48, C.J. Douglas, so they run it with the quarterback.
They run it with the quarterback, pick up some yards there. It's going to be manageable 3rd and about 4. Mark, the rain's picked up yet again. I mean, the last couple days there's been some nor'easters up in the Penn State area. There's actually been some snow. We're certainly not experiencing anything like that, but it is ugly and nasty out here today. Linemen typically love this weather. As big number 68, Joey Lang checks in for the Eagles at tackle.
Fresh legs in a clean jersey. They hand it off to Zioli. He pounds it ahead, and that's what this game's going to be all about. But he's going to be slightly short of the marker, or will he get it?
Lang stood up on that one. He stood up on that one and got knocked back. That's been what's going on with the Eagles tackles. He's standing right up, getting blown back. Upper Merion looks like they pick up. It's going to be close to the first if they didn't pick it up.
They're going to measure it, it looks like.
Upper Merion played that one exactly right. They ran it right at him. They double-teamed the fresh guy, blew him yards off the ball. Yeah. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do.
So I'm Mark Hoddens, along with Dave Fazzini. We're looking at a measurement right now to see if Upper Merion picked up this first down, and he got it.
If I'm Coach E.J. Smith right now, I go away from my base 4, and I put in somebody over to center. Makes it harder to double team. I go to every team's got a 5-man D-line package. This is frustrating to watch because you know what the Eagles have to do, but yet they're just not doing it. They're getting gashed up the middle.
I mean, it's not like you're worried about the pass or anything like that.
No.
So, yeah, I agree. And the Upper Merion Vikings line up in a tight formation with Zioli once again in the backfield, along with Brennan. Bobbled snap and a broken play. And Legendre improvises and maybe gets a yard.
Lang atoned on that play for getting blown up the play before. Lang comes across, stays low, rips across his man, and makes a good heads-up tackle from Legendre. And the fresh tackle set comes in now with Bloomer, Bloomer's in there now with big 65, Marcus Robbins. Sometimes Wildcat specialist, number 65, Marcus Robbins.
And you were talking about the snow or whatever in Penn State. They say that like this, cold and raining is even worse. I mean, it's freezing.
It's
and then
freezing
the rain,
cold.
wow, it's brutal out there. Fortunately, we're up here in the warm booth.
Yeah, we're up here in the warm booth. I'd like to thank folks at Upper Merion for their hospitality and nice accommodations. Not every time you get to experience the nice, actual, really nice accommodations. This has been great. They have a really nice facility here, and again, we'd like to extend our thanks to them for their hospitality. This game, however, the same kind of hospitality has not been present as the weather conditions. Not that Upper Merion can control that, but the weather conditions are, as you said, Mark, deplorable.
Well, the first quarter just came to a conclusion with the Eagles on top 7-0 on the strength of a long Sheldon Mayer run. He's done it many a time this season, and we saw it again here, and it gives the Eagles their 7-0 lead.